Hi, third graders. Today we are going to be learning the cursive letter H, but before we do, I just want to look at the letter F with you for a second because I saw many of you who were close with your letter F, but not quite right on. I wanted to show you a couple of things that I saw and then talk about how we can fix those. So I want your book open to your letter F page, and while you're on there, here's one thing that I saw many of you did. Let me just write it down quick here. Many of your F's looked like this. Now, when you look at the example right here of how that F is supposed to be, you'll notice the difference between these two. This F is straight upside down and this one is to the side. I also saw a lot of you whose F's looked like this. You'll notice that, again, we need our F to be pointing in this direction, not the way that it is right now. So that's not quite right there. So we need to make sure that your F's are tilted to the correct side. So your F should look like an L all the way down to the bottom, up to that bottom line, and then make the little tail at the end. So if yours are not going in this direction or your tail is not below that bottom line, I need you to fix those. So look at your F page, and if you need to fix anything, meaning if your F's are going in this direction or they're straight up and down, I need you to pause the video and fix your letter F's. When you finish fixing your letter F's, I want you to take this page up to your teacher, and your teacher will give you a little star in the corner or ask you to fix some things. You have to do that before you move to the letter H. So fix your letter F's on these 3 rows. Your teacher has some erasers if you need to borrow one, and then you will continue to the next page. Now that you've fixed your F's, today we get to learn the letter H. For the letter H, we're going to kind of start with the same thing actually as the F, or similar, kind of like that L, where we go up at an angle like this, all the way to the top and then straight back down. Now what's different here, in the L we made a tail right away, and in the F we kept going. In the H, we trace it back up to the dotted line, all the way down to the bottom, and then we give it a little tail again. Now you have to make sure that your paper is tilted the correct way for your letters to be the correct way. So if you do a couple of letters and they don't look like this, you could ask the person next to you, hey, does my letter look right? And they could help you to know if your letter looks right. You don't want your H's to go the wrong direction. So make sure your H's are tilting this way like the examples have. I'm going to show you a couple of examples of the letter H. You start in the bottom corner, or the bottom line. You go back up. When you come back down without picking up your pen, you are going to trace that line up a little ways and then go to the dotted line, come back down to the bottom, and then go out. Now, my H here is not perfect. It's too straight and this part's too wide. So I'm going to fix it by doing one right here. You go over here, down, trace it back up, and like that. Now, when I'm making it, it's similar to the L, except when I get to the bottom, I have to trace it and go back up. With your H, you have to make sure that you are starting at the bottom, going up to the top, coming back down without picking up your pencil. So make sure that as you are doing this, your H is looking like the examples. Now, for this cursive page, I will know if you're listening or not, because I'm going to have you fill in the whole top row of H's and then show your teacher. Your teacher is going to give you something to put over here in your book, and then you are going to continue on through the next 2 rows after your teacher checks your H's. So you need to pause the video, fill in just your top row, and then show your teacher so that you can make corrections before you do the next 2 rows. So pause your video and do that. Now that you've shown your teacher, you're going to fill in the next 2 rows of H's. So go ahead, pause the video and do that part. Once all of your H's are made, we're going to look at these corrections down here. So in this first one, the H goes up, but when it comes back down, there's no opening up here. It just traced the whole way. We have to make sure that we have an opening at the top. So check any of yours. If they have that, you need to erase it and fix it. We're not tracing this part right here. Those part, we need a little gap in there. The second mistake that's made is our H right here, our little hump on our H is not touching the dotted line. So make sure when you go up to that dotted line that you trace, or not trace, that your hump on your H goes all the way up to that dotted line before you come back down. And then our final mistake over here is that our tail does not touch the bottom. This part should go all the way down to the bottom right over here before it comes back up. So if you have either of these two mistakes, you also need to erase it and fix up on the top part. Once you've fixed all of yours and your 3 up on the top, we're going to continue to the bottom. Now, if you are somebody who's working ahead and not listening to the video, I need you to really make sure that you're listening to the video. As you make the letters, I'm helping you to know how they're connected. So for the H, we start on the bottom, we go up to the top, we come back down, and then we go to the dotted line. I'm still at that angle again. And then when I come back up, I stop. This is an H connected to an I, spelling the word high, and then coming back down, and then you do your dot. So don't go up to the top and then do your dot. You do all the swooping part first, and then your dot. And if you have room, I had a little mistake there. If you have room, you can do 2 of them, correcting any mistakes that you had along the way. Then for the letter H connected to the letter A, you do the same thing for the H. And then we bring it up to the top for the A. We just keep that tail of the H going to connect it to the A. Our next letter is the C connected to the H. So for the C, you start with this little tail on that end. You come around, make your C. Bring your line up to the top, make your loop back down, and your H like that. Mine's a little bit straight, so if you can even tilt yours a little more than mine, that'll be even better. And then we have an O connected to an H. Now from the O, you make your cross stroke right here at the end, and then you continue up to the top at that angle. And then you come back down and you make your H the same way we did. You just don't have this start out under curve that we had on the H. So you just go from your cross stroke up and then back down and trace it the same way you would have before. Man, I did not connect to the bottom over here again either. So I'm at least circling it to point out that I know I made a mistake there. You guys are using pencils, so you could erase that and fix that part there. So I hope that you have had a successful day getting your H done, and you can put this away. Great job.